Elon Musk is making a bold move back into business, raising $5 billion in debt for his AI startup. The deal, backed by Morgan Stanley, will fund a massive AI infrastructure project in Memphis with strong investor appetite. Let's head to the US now. We're joined by Gastwirth from Unearthing Opportunities. Great to see you. Obviously, Elon Musk trying to make a bold move away from politics.
Yeah, no, thanks, Aaron. A lot of interesting news, and this is a big raise. Whenever you get into the billions of a debt offering, it raises, it makes people pay attention. And, they're also doing that large share offering to get some of their employees to be able to sell some of their stock to give them some liquidity. But ultimately, they want to compete more with the likes of Microsoft, OpenAI, Meta, and those that bet against Musk in the past have lost. So Musk has really proven to do what he says he's going to do. That being said, there's more controversy than ever with because of the politics and what he's been and how he's been involved with the U.S. government. So it's interesting. I certainly, it's hard to bet against him, but we'll see on what happens with xAI.
What makes, this AI project in Memphis so significant for him?
Yeah, I think you really, what his vision is really to combine compute, automobiles, and communication. You have, he bought Twitter, named it X. He has this xAI. He's got Tesla. Obviously, he has other aspirations and bigger deals with SpaceX, et cetera. But when you look at the integration, especially when you look at Tesla and the robotics arm, he's hoping to be purely fueled by xAI. And I think when you have that large grasp of the back end being your technology, there's a lot of interesting things you can do. So I think he wants to become the AI empire, and he still has a long way to go. But again, given his reputation and how he's really executed, it's really hard to bet against him.
And talk to us about, Musk's fundraising strategy, how it's different this time around, and the involvement too of Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, that's interesting also. To get Morgan Stanley involved, it's a debt offering, it's not equity. So, that's also an interesting sort of shift. Previously he has done large equity offerings. He's also done large debt ones as well. So, it's been a mix. But getting a large, one of the most reputable, investment banks to help him out on the deal shows that maybe he doesn't have the reach with some of his closer ties that he had previously, because, before he would just reach out to a few of his billionaire friends and get $500 million pretty quickly. So maybe he does need the reach of one of the largest retail arms to let them get involved in this deal.
What seems interesting here, Brad, is obviously Tesla investors have had a pretty rough ride over the past 6 months. As he became more involved with Doge, we saw that graph, I suppose, of the Tesla share price continue to drop, to continue to really decline, and many pointing to his relationship with Donald Trump there as well. What's driving investor confidence in an xAI project for these investors, given what's happened to Tesla?
Yeah, those are great questions, Aaron. I think first and foremost, Musk has the trust and confidence from the tech community. Most people believe he's going to execute on what he spends his time doing. I guess the big question and the concerns is his reputation, as you mentioned, because of his involvement with the government. And, when he spent a majority of this time with Doge, he was also the CEO of public company Tesla, CEO of SpaceX, CEO of X, CEO of, he's he's the head of all these organizations. And, where is he spending his time? So with Doge, I think everybody wanted to see him spend more time with Tesla. And then on top of just the spending of time, there became that, sort of turmoil because of his association with President Trump. And, because we have a pretty bifurcated states here with those that like and those that do not like President Trump. Regardless of which side you're on, he is the president of the United States, and we have to support what he does. And there's a lot of people that are putting Musk in, the others camp now because of his relations. So now, will all this affect what's happening with xAI? Very possibly. I think from a consumer perspective, I think Tesla's in a very tough spot. I think there's a very big negative association, with Tesla right now because of his involvement with the government. And I think xAI is going to be sort of a homegrown project. And will he have enough time to build it and get his credibility back? That will remain to be seen.
How much of this is because he just really doesn't like Sam Altman?
I don't think that's the majority of the reason at all, quite honestly. I think that, there's certainly some bad blood because of that split. But I think he has big aspirations to being the, foundation of all, of AI across communications. And I think that's what OpenAI initially was planned to be. And I think now with xAI, I think that's what he wants to do.
We talk about Elon Musk, and obviously he's got a whole bunch of different businesses. The reason that he spent billions, probably more than he wanted to, on Twitter, renaming it X, is he wants X to be the app for everything. How does xAI fit into that model, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's xAI is really going to be the engine for everything that he's building. So, that's at least my interpretation of his plan. Nobody knows his true plan but him himself. But I believe he wants xAI to be the true back end of all of his companies and all the technology that drives everything that he's a part of. And I also think he has bigger aspirations for xAI to be more involved in almost all AI across, the states and maybe even internationally. Maybe that's his larger aspiration. I think from a competitive standpoint, I mean, it's doable. It all comes down to, can he ramp it to be as competitive as the other offerings, or is he going to be behind? And I think at the end of the day, if he's able to scale it, then it's going to be important. Now, if you look at Twitter and what he did with X when he renamed it, I think he's definitely going to use that, the back end for being the back end source, technology source for X. And I mean, he hasn't done a good job monetizing it. That's been a difficult thing for Twitter in the past, or X and that platform. And it's interesting. He spent a lot of money, but clearly he has a bigger vision. And again, it's hard to bet against that vision, but I have a hard time seeing what he's going to do with it.
Don't have much time left, but just quickly, do you think this is a long-term shift away from politics for him?
I think after the backlash, I think he has to really look at the political side and really take a stance of like, hey, this is ruining my babies that I'm building. He sort of has a black eye on Tesla and SpaceX, anything that he's a part of. There's a big group of Americans now that don't want to associate with his product. So yeah, I do think so, Aaron. I do think that this maybe makes him feel take a step back on his involvement, for sure.
All right, Brad Gastwirth there from Unearthing Opportunities. Always appreciate your insights. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron.